Hello, and thank you for joining us for Change Your Chat. I'm your host, Kourtney Govro. Today, Chui Kashung joins us from Siliguri, India, where he is head of school at BTCV Partner School, Immanuel International Academy. This school has a very special place in our hearts because it was co-founded by my parents, Jan and Gary Venable, with Chui's parents, Peter and Moala Kashung, more than 10 years ago. Today, the school is a model of success, and BTCV is very proud to be partnering with them. Chui, welcome to the program today.
Thank you, Kourtney. I'm glad to be here.
Chui, the construction of Immanuel International Academy Campus, or IIA as it's locally abbreviated, has been developed strategically in phases over years, meaning IIA was not completely built start to finish from the ground up in 1 year. The leaders launched planning for the school in 2006. That would change the opportunities, not only for the local community, but for others communities through the sustainability of IIA. They broke ground in 2008 on phase one, the primary school, and opened in 2010. And this year, you're completing the fourth floor with BTCV, which allows you to expand the secondary school services. That needs assessment and phase building model alongside a requirement of sustainability for partners is the very model that Be the Change Volunteers uses today. The school has been successful. How many students and teachers does the school have today?
Today we have over 400 students, and I'm not giving an exact number because during the lockdown, we've had some students come and go. And so we don't have a definite number, but it is definitely over 400. We have 27 teachers and one principal.
In 2011, BTCV partnered with IIA to fund the installation of an athletic field, playground, and other recreational equipment. How does having those types of things impact the students' performance in the classroom?
A school environment cannot always focus on the academics. And it is important that, children get time to play as well. Mm-hmm. The goalpost and, the playground equipments that BTCV has funded. Every time we see new admissions that come, children that come, that's the first thing that they go and, check out. So we have the swings and the slides and the monkey bars. And so that is the initial point of attraction for these children. Mm-hmm. And while their parents are, coming into the office to inquire about, the admission process, their children are normally, they're at the playground playing with all these playground equipment. And that way, we end up bringing them into the Immanuel family.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I agree with you so much. Kids can't sit that long and be effective learners. They need that kind of activity and gets their juices flowing through the day, gets a little energy out. We say the wiggles and the giggles sometimes. We got to get the wiggles and the giggles out. So I think that's fantastic. And you also received there was a really generous gift from the Chong family and Agilent Technologies, and BTCV was able to get some grant funds for a science and physics lab. How have you seen the provision of that equipment really benefit your students?
Well, first of all, thank you to the Chong family and Agilent Technologies. We're really grateful for the funding for our science lab. What I can say for sure is that because of the Chong family lab, we were able to get our affiliation to CBSE. This was one of the main requirements to be affiliated, which is having a proper lab. And without that, I don't think we would have been able to move forward. And when I talk about affiliation, I'm referring to the opening of the 9th and 10th grade. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Chong family, and thank you, Agilent Technologies. Secondly, I would also like to point out that the second science lab that was funded by BTCV, this also helped us upgrade to the next level, which is the 11th grade as well as the 12th grade.
Wow.
I remember back in 2016, Grant was asking me, Chui, what are the needs of Immanuel? How can we help? And I told him, we're having our inspection coming up for our upgradation, and we lack the infrastructure in terms of labs. And if you guys could help out there, then that would really, help us. And I think by 2017, it was all set up. And by 2018, we received our approval to start the 11th grade.
Wow.
At Immanuel. Yeah.
That's fantastic. It is harder to have those classes and the educators for the upper level classes. That's one of the things I've learned working at a small school, is having the people that have the ability to teach those classes, having the tools and resources to teach those classes. It really is important, and it's great that you had some partnership. Now, your current project that you guys have going on right now, that BTCV is helping you all with, tell me about how the fourth floor will impact the school and improve your offerings to the community. Tell me about, and also talk to me a little bit about the students and tell me how their lives have changed. That would be so amazing.
Oh, well, regarding the roofing project that is ongoing at Immanuel, it opens a lot of doors for us. One is we've had this desire to have our own community hall / auditorium. During school functions, we've had to hire tents from outside, set it up, which is quite expensive. And it does not really serve the purpose because we don't have the space on our campus to set up such a large tent. So most of the times, it is not a very practical affair. And the roofing project, what it is going to help us, we will be building an auditorium on the top floor.
Wow.
So yeah, that covers a major requirement that we've been having for many years. And also a second solution that the roofing project is solving for us is during storms and during rains, we've had water leakages on the top floor. We were not able to complete the construction because of lack of funds. And over the years, the walls started developing minor cracks here and there, and water started seeping in, and it wasn't a really pleasant school environment where the students had to climb up the stairs and there would be water logging, and the teachers and the staff cleaning the water and mopping the floors. So the roofing is just going to solve that in one go.
Wow.
Yeah. It is going to create a lot of additional rooms. We don't even have a proper storeroom to keep our tools and inventories, or even our old audited book of accounts and files. So this is also going to create additional rooms for us where we can have additional storage, additional classrooms for our students.
That's awesome. That's really going to be great. I can relate to having roof issues. We've had that at our school too. And it really does impact the kids when they have that kind of environment. So tell me a little bit about your vision for the future of IIA, specifically the needs related to infrastructure and equipment that should be coming up. What can our community be thinking about helping your community?
Kourtney, the other day we conducted Teachers' Day at Immanuel. And it was a very small gathering. Because of the COVID restrictions, we cannot have all the students come in and, celebrate with the teachers. But it was just a very small gathering with a few select teachers, with all the teachers and a few select students. And before the program began, I called aside all our teaching and non-teaching staff, assembled them in a classroom, and we handed out checks of back payments. And when I talk about checks of back payments, because of the lockdown, we've had students that are unable to pay their school fees. And in turn, we were also unable to pay the salaries in full. And one more thing that I forgot to mention about, how the roofing project has helped us is we were also able to give back to our teachers what they truly deserve. And we were actually saving for the roofing construction, but the amount that we saved was not close to enough, not even enough to cover the expenses. But because BTC, we jumped in, we were able to get the roofing up and started. And at the same time, we were also able to diversify our funds and give back to our teachers the amount that we've been deducting from their salaries over the past couple of months. And one thing that I stood there in front of all the teachers and non-teaching staff, I told them this. I told them, as a school, we have always and will always stand for our students, to educate them, to grant them, provide them proper education. We have so many orphans at our school. We have so many students from needy homes. We have so many students whose parents have passed away because of COVID, or single parents. And these are people that are struggling. And I even told them, the amount of concessions and scholarships that we have granted over the years. And this is who we are as a school. This is what we do. We are not here to run a business. Rather, we are here to provide an education to as many children and as many students as possible. And that is our vision as a school. And I think our teachers just sat there in awe, and they were like very appreciative and thankful to be able to work, to be also receiving their funds. And it's all thanks to organizations like Be the Change volunteers.
That is beautiful. A lot of times people forget that conviction is actually what creates culture, and conviction about teaching those students and being part of their lives, even the students that really can't afford to go to school. And, breaks your heart to hear that they lost their parents due to COVID or due to anything really, and are alone, and being that family. I say that about our school too, that, we're a family here and we take care of one another. And I think that's great. And I'm touched by that you would make that connection with your teachers, because it helps drive that culture of what you're about. That was really great. But I think that probably stems some from your background and how education has impacted your life. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about how education and your experience has impacted your conviction with your teachers.
Well, I would like to share a story of mine. But before I get there also, just the other day, we went to buy some chicken feed nearby our school. And my driver was mentioning that, this parent, his children studied at Immanuel. So out of curiosity, I asked the father. He was covered in chicken feed. He was working really hard and he was sweating. And I asked him, sir, did your children study at Immanuel? And he responded, yes, 2 of my children were there at Immanuel. And so I found out that one of them is right now a computer programmer, and the other one is training for the military. We have so many success stories like that. And these are things that, we just can't keep track of. And along the way, when we meet and bump into, old students, old parents, we get to find out, okay, our students have gone for medicine, aiming to become doctors. We have had students that have gone to the United States. We've had students that are in Russia pursuing medicine. We have students that were accepted into one of the prestigious institutes for fashion technology and design in India. We've had students that are working in so many fields, for example, aviation as cabin crew. And in fact, we even have one of our old students that teaches dance at Immanuel. So coming back to how important education is, personally for me, when I think about it, my grandfather was from the village, and I come from a headhunting background. My great grandfather was a headhunter, and my grandpa was illiterate, did not go to school. My father got the opportunity to go to school, be educated in the United States. My mom, she also got her education in the United States. And over the years, I used to wonder, why did my parents choose to come back to India when we could have lived in the US and had a very comfortable life? And a recent trip to Imphal, really just cleared so many things for me. And during that trip to Imphal, I visited an old school where I studied, and it was a mission school. None of my family members have gone back to that place for several years now. It's been more than 20 years, and we actually ran away from that village because of a war. And I still remember as a child, I remember people coming down the mountains with burning torches. I can just picture it at the back of my head. There were a lot of people running down the mountains holding torches. And those days, my dad was working at a theological seminary there, and they came down to where the college was. They beat up students. They chased away everyone. So the next day we packed up and left, and we've never seen that place ever since. But during that last trip, I decided, okay, it's time for me to, go back to where I got my first schooling. And I visited this place. Believe me or not, the classroom that I was in during kindergarten was still there. They had not demolished it. Of course, new infrastructure has come, new buildings have come, but the old classrooms, which were made of bamboo and mud, it was still there. And I stood in front of it and asked a friend of mine to take my picture. And as I walked around the campus, I began to realize how fortunate and how grateful I am for the education that I've received. And over the years, my education has been possible because of organizations like BTCV. I've only studied in mission schools. I have so many friends and classmates my age group who have studied in mission schools, especially my batch, the generation that I come from. We've had a lot of classmates that have been even shot dead and killed during the war. And to come out of a situation like that and see success stories where, now you have students who are doctors and engineers and holding, top positions in the government, including the military and police, it's just a wonderful testimony. And these are only possible because of organizations like BTCV. Yeah, sometimes we fail to see the bigger picture. And as I sat there, I realized, okay, this is my true calling. This is my purpose now. I need to also, bridge the gap between the students that don't have access to an education or a proper schooling, and how we can change their lives.
That is awesome. And it's one of the things I've heard kind of consistently from my interviews with Be the Change. And it's that education is generational. It's not just today, it impacts for a long time to go. And you're a great testament to that. You're a testament to that. And somebody invested, somebody helped, And now look at what you're able to do. And it's like that ripple effect. That's just fantastic. I sure want to thank you today for your time, giving us an interview for Be the Change volunteers. This has been wonderful for me personally, just to hear about, the legacy that our parents have together. And now both of us are working in schools. I think that's kind of a testament to what we've been impacted by our parents and how we know we can make generational change. And both of us participating with Be the Change volunteers. So thank you so much for joining us today, Chui.
Thank you, Kourtney. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you all for joining us for the Changer Chat. If you like the Changer Chats and want to hear more of them, please show us with your financial support at btcv.us. We look forward to sharing more stories with you and hope that you too will take this as inspiration to go be the change that you want to see happen in the world.